Well, it is very difficult to imagine a world without eyes. So our eyes are an important part of our body. Come, let's take a tour of its many parts to learn about the structure of our eye. The eye is spherical in shape. It has a diameter of about 2.3 centimeters and weighs around 7 grams. The front surface of the eyeball has a thin membrane called cornea. All light enters the eye through the cornea. Most of the refraction of the light rays takes place at the outer surface of the cornea. The iris, the colored part of the eye, is found behind the cornea. People's eye colors are actually the color of their iris. The color of the iris ranges from brown to green to blue, gray, and hazel. The iris has a round opening in its center called the pupil. The pupil controls the amount of light entering the eye by changing its size. The innermost layer of the eye has a membrane called retina. The retina has a large number of light-sensitive cells. The back of the eyes has optic nerves. The optic nerves transmit visual information to the brain. The crystalline lens, a colorless, transparent structure, it is located just behind the iris. It bends the light rays that enter the eye and focuses them on the retina. Attached to the lens is ciliary muscle. When the ciliary muscles relax, they flatten the lens, allowing the eye to see objects that are at a distance. Similarly, they contract to thicken the lens, enabling the eye to see the close objects clearly. Inside the eyeball are two fluid-filled substances separated by the lens. These are called aqueous humor and vitreous humor. The aqueous humor is the fluid between the cornea and the iris. It maintains pressure of the eye and nourishes the cornea and lens. The vitreous humor, which looks like jelly and contains 99% water, is in the middle of the eye between the retina and the lens. It maintains the shape of the eyes. So, these were the main parts of our eyes. You can check out some of these parts of the eye by looking at your eyes in the mirror. But how do these parts help us see? And why are we not able to see in the dark? Light reflects off objects around us. The light that an object reflects then falls on cornea. The cornea bends the light and directs it through the pupil to the lens. The lens further directs the light to the vitreous humor and focuses it on the retina. The image of the object is projected upside down on the retina. In the retina, the light-sensitive cells change the image into messages that our brain can understand. These messages are carried to the brain by the optic nerves. The brain reverses the images from the retina and reads the messages. Finally, the brain tells us what we are looking at, and we see the image the correct way. We cannot see any object clearly in the dark because we see objects by catching the light that reflects off them. If there is no light, no reflection occurs. Therefore, we can't see the object. ciliary muscles contract. The eye lens becomes thicker. The curvature of the eye lens increases. Consequently, the focal length of the eye lens decreases. But when you are looking at distant objects, the ciliary muscles are relaxed and the lens becomes thin. The curvature of the lens decreases. Consequently, the focal length of the lens increases. The lens adjusts its focal length according to the distance of the object. The ability of the eye to focus objects at different distances is called the power of accommodation. The minimum distance at which objects can be seen distinctly without strain is called the least distance of distinct vision. It can be also called the near point of the eye. For a normal eye, the near point is 25 centimeters. The maximum distance at which a human eye can see objects clearly is called the far point of the eye. For a normal eye, the far point is infinity. Have you ever tried this? How is it possible to have the parrot inside the cage when they are on opposite sides? The ability of the eye to retain the impression of an image for a short time, even after the image has disappeared, is called persistence of vision. Can you think of some more examples of persistence of vision? The impression of an image is thought to persist for approximately 1/25th of a second on the retina. When the eye sees images at this faster rate, they appear as a running movie. The blades of a running fan appear like a circular disc owing to persistence of vision. To see the wonderful and beautiful world. So, we should always take care of our eyes. Any problem to the eye will cause a defect in the eye. Let us discuss some of the defects of the eye and ways to correct them. Tony and his friends were walking in a market street while Tony points to a distant restaurant. Tony is able to read all the signboards, while his friend is able to read the nearby signboard but not the name of the distant restaurant. The ability to see the near objects clearly but not the far objects is called short-sightedness. The technical term for it is myopia. The image of the nearby object is formed on the retina. The image of a distant object is not formed in front of the retina, but in front of it. Myopia may arise owing to excessive curvature of the lens of the eye, or elongation of the eyeball. Myopia can be corrected by using a concave lens of suitable focal length. A concave lens of suitable focal length will bring the image back onto the retina, and thus the defect is corrected. Tony was able to read all the signboards, while his other friend was able to read the name of the distant restaurant, but cannot read the name on the nearby signboard. The ability to see distant objects clearly, but not the nearby objects, is called long-sightedness. The technical term is hypermetropia. The image of a distant object is formed on the retina. The image of a distant object is not formed in front of the retina, but behind it. Hypermetropia may arise because the focal length of the eye lens is too long, or the eyeball becomes too small. Hypermetropia can be corrected by using a convex lens of suitable focal length. A convex lens of suitable focal length will bring the image back onto the retina and thus correct the defect. How far can an eagle see? A lot further than a human eye can see. That's why when someone says, "You must have eagle eyes," they mean you can see a really long way. The power of the eyes usually decreases with aging. Difficulty in seeing nearby objects clearly and also distant objects distinctly is called presbyopia. This arises owing to the weakening of ciliary muscles and diminishing flexibility of the lenses. They suffer from both myopia and hypermetropia. Sufferers from both these defects require bifocal or multifocal or varifocal lenses. A bifocal lens consists of a concave lens in the upper part and a convex lens in the lower part. This helps the wearer to see both nearby and distant objects.